Hi guys, welcome back to Crypto Chester. My name is Chester and today I'm here to give you a BTC update on a nice Sunday morning here. Just want to start off with the short term for Bitcoin, then the mid term for Bitcoin, and then we're going to be going through to the long term for Bitcoin and seeing that weekly close potentially, and looking at where we need to get for that monthly as well then. So let's just start off with the short term right now, and let's have a little chat about that short position that we were potentially going to consider entering yesterday. In terms of a measure move, we were looking at something along the lines of this, right? We were looking at something along the lines of this. I was actually doing a live stream, live on YouTube at this point when I did want to enter this position. And I finished my live stream. I didn't enter the position just as then because I was waiting for this candle close here. And as you can see on this candle close, we did actually set a higher low here. So that's an indication that we are going to see that reversal in the trend, right? We are going to see that reversal in the trend. And what do you know? We have seen that reversal in the trend. Granted, we did come down and we did set a lower low from there. But in my defense, I was asleep from there, right? I was asleep from there. So if you did enter this trade, it would have been basically a swift stop out, right? A swift stop out, and you wouldn't have seen a completion of this measure move. Now, what's happened right now? We did actually scare along this trend line coming through last night, right? In terms of this falling wedge that we got coming through. And we've absolutely just banged it, right? Bitcoin has just banged it overnight up to the upside. We're seeing a nice level of support on this trend line at the lower side of this falling wedge here, which is very nice indeed. We are currently up around 4%, right, in terms of this uptrend that we're going through at the moment. We are seeing it is crucial, right? It is absolutely crucial that we hold the level of support on this price action channel that we got coming through here. If we do hold that level of support, it's going to be ideal because we do have these horizontal levels of support sat around that 35,200 there, and also 35,195. So that's key levels of support we need to hold there. Now, as you can see this nice grey box zone coming through here, which I've drawn in. As you can see, we do have a few candle closes and a few wicks down there in terms of finding levels of support continuously along this zone, right? So it's an indication if we do find a level of support to the top side of this grey box zone, and we find a level of support on this green moving average coming down here, this 55 moving average coming down here, and also the top side of this falling wedge on the short term here, we could be looking at a potential long position, right? Obviously, nothing I say is financial advice. Do your own research on the trades that I, not in a sense advise you on, I just try and educate you on potential positions to think about yourself, right? But if we do find a nice level of support at around a short-term target point of clearing the 55 hit, around that 35,750, for me, that's going to be an ideal level of support because we do have a lot of support holding us up there in terms of potential long position. In terms of potential long position, we would be coming up to this horizontal level resistance point, and in terms of like a little scalpy scalp there, we are looking at near enough a 2.3% near enough around that point, right? So it's definitely something to consider when trading the old Bitcoin right now on the short term. In terms of what's happening on the RSI, we did have this downward sloping resistance line, right? We did have this downward sloping resistance line, which we were looking like we were going to find some resistance from, and that was going to be in the central part of this falling wedge here. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's actually pretty good indeed that we have come to the upside. We have smashed it, right? I can see us finding resistance off this grey box zone here, potentially coming down and testing this level of support on the RSI here. So that's definitely something to consider if we are going to have a bounce from there. That is basically another theory that we could be coming up from there, and is another theory backing up a long position if we can get clear of that 55 moving average and find a level of support there. But be aware, if we do lose this downward sloping support line that we're coming through on the RSI here, we are looking at that swift rejection, bit of selling power. We could be coming down, losing these key levels of support. And if we do lose these key levels of support in the short term here, around that 35,200 mark, if we do lose that, I can see us coming down and literally testing this 21 moving average or the 10 moving average that we've got coming through here. Probably having a little skirt around there as we are losing this point on the RSI here. So definitely something to watch if you are going to be trading Bitcoin at this time on a Sunday morning. Right now on the MACD for the old short term for Bitcoin, we didn't actually see this downtrend come through and touch our level of support here. So that was very interesting because obviously we have seen that happen quite a number of times here in terms of this key level of support. So yeah, it's very interesting indeed. I would say this cycle is still valid in terms of a trend line for this MACD here. So the next time we do see that bearish crossover, we do need to be aware at a point of support here in terms of that downtrend coming through. At this point in time, we are in this uptrend. It's not looking too bad as well because we are currently challenging this horizontal level of support around the 176 mark for the MACD there. So if we are looking to get over that and continue this uptrend up, if we do, I would be looking at a factor for us coming up to around the top side of this higher high point on the MACD here, if we are to clear this zone in which we're currently in now. And if we are to clear that and find that level of support, it's basically another factor that we are looking to come up and look for that potential long position there. So that's the MACD sort of summed up there, and the RSI for the short term for Bitcoin there. Let me jump to the midterm right now. Let me just summarize quickly on the short term here. In terms of a short term target, it would be this 55. It would be getting to this 35,758 zone and getting a few hourly candle closes above that, finding that nice level of support. That's the ideal scenario, right? In terms of Bitcoin for the midterm right now, we didn't see us come down to this volume weighted ATR band, which is quite shocking actually. I did actually think we were going to come down there. It did look pretty dominant in terms of this downtrend, setting these lower highs continuously. But as you can see here, even if we see any sort of price reversal at this point here, or even if we come up and test this 21 to get rid of this dominant lower high that we got coming through down here, right, we are going to need to see a price of around 37,300, potentially 37,400, around 600, right, 37,600. That's the price that we're going to see to eradicate and basically invalidate this lower high that we got coming through here. So it's definitely something to watch. If we are going to get to this point, it's going to be ideal. And that is probably going to correlate perfectly with the 55 yet again there. But as you can see, we are seeing this upwards momentum, right? We are seeing this upwards momentum, and we are seeing us basically run it up, which is nice to see. We did see quite a few lower lows here, but as you can see, we are pretty far away from setting that lower low yet again. We would need a significant dump in the price, because as you can see, we have seen this pretty wicky mess coming through here, and we have seen that nice price recovery in terms of buying power. Ideal target for the midterm right now for Bitcoin would be to get over this 10 moving average that we've got and find a level of support in the next hour and 40 minutes there, and then we would be looking at a nice test of this 21 moving average at around that 36,200 mark, right? 36,200 mark. Crucial times, because we do have these candle closes coming down here for these lower low points as we were coming down in this downtrend. So it would be a pretty crucial point in terms of testing a level of resistance, correlating perfectly with this 21 moving average as well. So we do need to definitely take that into account when we are seeing that price at around 36k. We are looking at some sort of resistance there. So please be careful when we're around that point, right? If these two correlate perfectly, this 21 moving average and this horizontal level of resistance there, we are going to see some sort of downwards momentum in terms of selling power for Bitcoin there. In terms of the short-term target, I would be looking to get over this. Sorry, the midterm target, I would be looking to get over this 36,383 and find a level of support on this 21. But if we do see a rejection, if we do see momentum, a lower high being set again, and then the momentum falling back to the downside, I would see a low point target of this horizontal level of support. As you can see, we do have a nice candle close there from that low point before, right? And that's sat at around that $33,051, right? If we do lose that, I would say the low point that I would be looking for a bounce from. As you can see, we do find pretty dominant levels of support and resistance coming through here on this volume weighted ATR band, which is this green one here, right? We do find nice levels of support continuously. So it is something that I would be looking at a potential bounce for in terms of finding a nice level of support and progressing to the upside from there and seeing some sort of trend reversal. Maybe not getting to the high point and eradicating these lower highs that we've got coming through, but definitely a bounce point nonetheless, right? If we are to lose that volume weighted ATR band, as you can see, we do sometimes respect it, or we do see colossal dumpage, and we do see that resistance to the downside from that. If we do lose, on the basis that we do lose this volume weighted ATR band, I can see us basically coming down, testing the lower side of this channel, right? The lower side of this channel, and because obviously we are in this this falling price channel coming through here, the lower side of this channel, and that basically mean that we are potentially seeing that $30 that $30,000 Bitcoin yet again. So it's definitely something to consider when trading Bitcoin on the midterm right now. Very interesting stuff what's happening on the RSI, because obviously we do have this downward sloping resistance line, which we have been looking at since around December, sort of around the start of the bull market sort of time. If we are going to see that buying power to the upside here, we do need to take into account we are potentially going to see a heavy level of resistance here. As you can see here, we do find heavy levels of resistance all the way along it near enough. Obviously, we do have those spillovers as normal with that insane buyer power to the upside on the RSI there, but primarily we do respect this this downward sloping resistance line here. So that's definitely something to consider when we are trading Bitcoin on the midterm here, right? Because if we do come up, right, if we do come up and we test this 55 or the top side of this this falling price channel here, we're likely to find resistance, and that's initial sign that we are going to see a reversal in the price from there, right? So that could mean we are going to have some consolidation period to the top side of this falling channel here. So it's definitely something to consider, and definitely something to take into account when trading Bitcoin on the midterm right now. Because if you are going to be looking at a potential trade, like we were saying on that long position on the short term there, if we are to clear this wedge to the upside in terms of a percent for this trade, what we would be looking for, we would be looking for something along the lines of this, right? Obviously, this measure move comes all the way up to this point, these lower highs here, so we could have a target point of around this. But as I said, we do obviously have this horizontal level of resistance here, so that would be the take profit, and we were aiming for around 2.3% there. So if we are looking for that progression to the upside, we do need to manage the RSI on the midterm there, because we could see a swift rejection when we see that momentum form to the upside as well, right? And that's the RSI on the midterm summed up there for you guys. And obviously on the MACD right now, you can see these horizontal levels of support. We saw the downtrend yesterday. We saw the downtrend last night coming through, right? And we have seen a nice level of support coming through on the MACD here. Not quite ever getting to this low point here that we have coming through here, but we are setting these lower highs continuously all the way up, right? Sorry, these high lows all the way up in terms of the MACD, right? So it's definitely something to consider in terms of when we do have this bullish crossover, because right now we've got a potential for, obviously we've got potential for a cycle here coming through, and we do have a new potential for a cycle here, right? So it's definitely something to consider in terms of when we have the next bearish crossover on the MACD and we see that next downtrend, we could see a potential level of support coming through here in terms of the downtrend. So that is another indication we are potentially going to have a correlation zone and really find a potential level of support on this 33,000 zone. Definitely something to consider when trading Bitcoin, right? In terms of what's happening right now on the MACD, we're looking for that bullish crossover, we're looking for that momentum in terms of that uptrade, we're looking for that long position, right? We're looking for that long position. We're looking at coming up to test this 55 if we can get past this dirty level of resistance sat at around that 36,070 zone there, right? Ideally, I don't think we are going to get to this high point in terms of an uptrend here, because we do obviously have that insane point of resistance coming through on the RSI there. There's definitely a few things to think about there when trading Bitcoin on the old midterm, right? A few things to think about in terms of trading Bitcoin on the midterm. Now, in terms of the long term for Bitcoin, pretty crucial points, right? Let me just do some summary. Let me just do a little summary for you guys here. Target point to get over for the next, I'd say 8 hours or so, it would be that 36,500 mark if we are going to continue that, have that continuation of the uptrend there, and then we would be looking at trying to clear this lower high here at that 37,000 mark. That's the ideal scenario if we are looking at that progression to the upside, right? Now, onto the long term, right? Onto the long term for Bitcoin. Obviously, we are on the Binance chart, so Binance did actually start this back in 2017, so that's the data that we have for that there. In terms of the daily right now, we can see potentially this pretty big symmetrical triangle playing out, right? This pretty big symmetrical triangle playing out here. So it is likely we are going to have potential bounce to the upside here and come up and test this 10 moving average coming down there, right? If we are going to come up and test this 10 moving average, as you can see here, we do find heavy resistance off it, right? We do find heavy resistance off it. Or we could find a potential level of support off it. If we can find a potential level of support off it, we could be looking at a measure move to the upside in terms of the daily chart, right? This is not going to happen overnight. This is potential for daily, right? This is potential over the next 4, 5, 6 days, something like that, if we are to see a break to the upside, right? If we see a break to the upside, potential measure move coming through, looking something along the lines of this. Obviously, depending on where we're going to break to the top side of this triangle, let's just, for basis sake, we do it here and we break in like 4 or 5 days time. We are going to be looking at some sort of potential measure move in terms of a percent to the upside. We're looking at around maybe even a 20% gain there for Bitcoin, so that's definitely something to consider, right? But also take into account we do have this 21 moving average coming through, and we do have this 200 moving average coming through as well, looking like some sort of crossover coming through here, right? So if we are going to see that coming down, we are going to be looking at a potential take profit here, because likelihood we are going to see some heavy level of resistance at this point, and especially at that point, because obviously we do have these lower high points coming through from that previous insane downtrend, that insane crypto crash that we had before. So we are going to definitely see some resistance at that point. So in realistic terms, in terms of a percent for this trade, we would be looking at around a 10% trade there for Bitcoin before we're likely to see any sort of resistance on the daily chart there. But obviously referencing the other time frames as well is very, very important. And that's Bitcoin to the upside there. If we're looking at trading Bitcoin to the downside in terms of the daily, we could be looking at a measure move, looking at something along the lines of this. Obviously, depending on where we're going to break, and obviously we do have this volume weighted ATR band coming through here. If we're looking at percent for that trade, we could be looking at something along the lines of this. And that's around maybe 16% gain to the downside there in terms of a short position for Bitcoin there. But obviously we do have this volume weighted ATR band coming through at around that $30,000 mark. So in terms of an actual percent for that trade, obviously depending on where we're going to break along the bottom side of this symmetrical triangle coming through here, we would be looking at around that 13.81% in terms of a gain there for a short position, obviously referencing the other time frames as well, but this is just on the speculation of this symmetrical triangle playing out on the daily, right? Key stuff here, key stuff. In terms of the weekly, right? We were discussing on yesterday's live stream, we were discussing how crucial it is that we don't set a lower low point below this 55 moving average on the weekly, right? And obviously that is ending in 17 hours and 32 minutes, so I would be looking at that pretty crucially at the end of today, right? And take into account it is a bank holiday as well, so that is definitely something to take into account there as well. We are looking at potentially, in terms of the weekly target, holding this 55, hold the line, and looking at for that progression to the upside, potentially coming up and testing this 21 in the next week or so. That would be ideal. It would be an initiation for a V-shaped recovery there, and that's basically what we want for Bitcoin, to basically see that continuation of bullish momentum, right? That's what we want indeed. But yeah, crucial point to watch would be this weekly close here above this 55 moving average. Hopefully, if we do close below it, then it's absolutely not good at all, and we are going to potentially see a $27,000 Bitcoin there, $27,796 Bitcoin at this volume weighted ATR band, which we're looking at potential bounce point from there, if on the basis that we do close below the 55, right? Now, the monthly is also coming to a close here in 1 day and 18 hours there. We'll be closing on the old bank holiday there, so we do need to think about that. In terms of moving averages coming through here, as long as we don't close below this 10 moving average coming through here, we're likely to find a level of support and have that progression to the upside over the next month or so, which we goddamn need it, right? We do need it, and it's not going to be very good if we do get a candle close below this 10 moving average, because there is potential of us coming down on the monthly chart and coming and testing this this 21 moving average coming through here around that 24,900 zone, near enough 25k, and we don't really want to see Bitcoin go to that level, really, because if we do see Bitcoin go to that level, we know all the altcoins and everything in terms of crypto is going to follow it, and it does create that massive uncertainty in terms of Bitcoin, right? So ideally for the monthly chart here, we want to see that retracement over the next day or so and see that nice level of support being formed on this 10 moving average that we've got coming through here. Guys, that's going to be the video. That's going to be the Bitcoin update. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you like the video, smash that thumbs up button. Helps me out tremendously. Obviously, I'm a new YouTuber on the block. I've not been here. I've been here for just over 2 weeks now. So I do need all of that support indeed to get me onto those YouTube algos, because it is very, very hard to penetrate in general, right? But yeah, if you in terms of a long position here for Bitcoin, this would be something I would be looking at, and obviously do your own research for that as well. And guys, if you like the content, I do stream every single day, Monday to Friday, 1 to 2 hours every single morning. My stream will be later on the Monday because it is bank holiday, but I promised you guys I will be there. I will be doing a 2-hour stream for you there on the Monday evening, I do think. So yeah, if you want to stay tuned for that, smash the subscribe button, smash that notification bell. You're never going to miss one of my uploads. I do altcoin videos, I do emergency updates, I do Bitcoin updates. I'm just continuously creating content for you guys. I love it, right? So smash that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and you're never going to miss one of my uploads. It's as simple as that. But yeah, thank you ever so much for being here yet again, and I will see you guys tomorrow for a lovely live stream there. And yeah, peace out and goodbye from me, Crypto Chester.